Welcome to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the #1 podcast and resource for Black entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. If you're currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, you're invited to join us each and every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family and get ready to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 613. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today's show topic is titled The Power of Saying No for Entrepreneurs. The Power of Saying No for Entrepreneurs. Now, if you want to build a successful business, one of the most powerful skills you can develop is not sales or marketing or even leadership, guys. It's the ability to say no. So many entrepreneurs struggle because they don't lack the skills necessary to be successful. They say yes to too many things that literally do not move their business forward. So every unnecessary commitment that we make, guys, it drains our most valuable resource. That's time, energy, and focus. So on today's show, guys, I'm going to break down why learning to say no is one of the most important disciplines for entrepreneurs who want to grow a profitable and sustainable business. So remember, success isn't about just what you add to your business. Many times it's about what you take away or eliminate. Now, before we get to today's show content, let me just share a few things with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and resource links, such as the latest link, getfundingready.com. Go to getfundingready.com if you want to see if your business is available to get funding right now. It's a quick 60-second quiz. Go to getfundingready.com. Now, let's get ready for today's show content. So on today's show, guys, we're going to talk about the power of saying no for entrepreneurs. And I know that can be hard for a lot of us, myself included. You know, it's funny because I have the spirit of trying to help people. And a lot of times when people come to me, it's hard for me to say no. But I had to learn the hard way that really doesn't help me get to where I need to be. So I have to be very decisive and make sure that I don't start getting unfocused and not wasting my time, but spreading myself too thin. So what we're going to learn on today's show, guys, we're going to talk about why saying yes to everything can actually slow down your business growth, how to recognize the warning signs that an opportunity isn't right for you, and we're going to talk about how to create a simple decision filter to protect your time and focus. And this is a simple little exercise, an action step that I'm going to give you at the end of today's episode. And it's going to help you protect your time and your focus. So we always talk about actionable steps, right? There's a ton of podcasts out there. There's a ton of content and information out there. But we want to provide actionable steps to take you from point A to point B. That's what it's all about here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and being a part of the BEB family and the whole ecosystem. Actionable steps to help you grow your business, not just by rah-rah, because we don't do the rah-rah stuff. We try to give you actionable steps that you can implement from every episode and every show. All right. So let's talk about this real quick. And we're talking about the power of saying no for entrepreneurs. One of the most powerful skills an entrepreneur can develop is actually the ability to say no. And I know it's hard sometimes. So people or opportunities may come at you and you think that it's real good. It looks real shiny, the shiny object syndrome. It could be something that's going to take you off your square or divert your focus. So remember, time and focus are two of the most important things that an entrepreneur has. And if we lose that, then guess what? We're not going to be able to work to maximum efficiency. So one of the most powerful skills an entrepreneur can develop, guys, is the ability to say no. So a lot of entrepreneurs believe success comes from saying yes to every opportunity. Yes, yes, we get all types of stuff coming at us, right? And it's funny because I was actually doing a workshop a couple days ago. I was out in Charlotte, North Carolina, doing a workshop. And it's funny, we talked about for entrepreneurs, the shiny object syndrome. You know, every time we start to try to focus on something, we go down a rabbit hole, and now we're looking at something totally different. So we have to understand, guys, that you need to stay focused. So many times we think success comes from saying yes to every opportunity, and that's really counterintuitive. We need to say no to most opportunities. And once again, I'm a perfect example of that because it took me a while to understand to say no. And it's still hard for me because I get people reaching out to me all the time via email, social media, and I try to help as much as I can. But sometimes I feel that I overextend myself. And then when you overextend yourself and you're not able to do what you say you're going to do, or you don't do it in a timely fashion, that can be just as bad too. So not meeting or exceeding expectations. So remember, we have to be careful and learn how to say no. But the reality is truly the opposite, guys. Every time you say yes to something or the wrong thing, you're actually saying no to something that could actually grow your business. Let me repeat that. Every time you say yes to the wrong thing, not the right thing, to the wrong thing, you're actually going to say no to something that could actually grow your business. So you have a finite amount of time, and you need to be able to leverage and use that time wisely to grow your business. And in order to do that and keep focused, you're going to have to say no to a lot of things. So once again, guys, I said it at the beginning of the show. Success isn't just about what you add to your business. Sometimes success is about what you eliminate. So every unnecessary yes, guys, costs you time, energy, and focus. And those are the three resources that we cannot afford to waste: time, energy, and resources. So when you say yes to things that are taking you away from that alignment, from that goal or objective, what you're doing is you're hustling backwards. You're not helping yourself, you're hurting yourself. Now, let's talk about something that a lot of people don't even realize is happening. It's the hidden cost of saying yes. The hidden cost of actually saying yes. And many entrepreneurs, they stay busy, but you don't move forward. So I talked last week about activity doesn't mean progress, right? You can be active, but it doesn't mean progress. Okay. So if you're running on a treadmill, you're active, right? But you're technically not moving from a physical place from point A to point B. You're being active, right? You're getting some benefits, but you're not actually moving the needle. You're not moving from point A to point B. So let's talk about the cost of saying yes and what are some of the things that can happen. Some of the negative things that can happen when you say yes to the wrong thing or too many times. So let's talk about wasted time. I talked earlier, guys, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference is, what do you do with it? How do you leverage it? And so I get calls all the time, and I know you guys probably get sales calls and things that are like time wasters, and I have to be very deliberate with my time, and so do you. So I use a thing called time blocking. So time blocking is when you take a specific period of time. It could be 45 minutes. It could be an hour, 30 minutes or whatever. And you block everything else out. You don't answer emails. You don't pick up the phone. You don't do anything but what you decided to do. So you want to focus on something. So for example, when I do my show notes, right, I block out an hour to create my show notes. I'm not picking up a call. I'm not answering an email. I'm not doing anything because I know you can get sidetracked. So it's just like in boxing, right? There's offense and defense. Offense is when you're throwing punches, right? Defense is when you're reacting to punches. So if you work in a defensive manner, you're trying to get a project done, and every time somebody emails you or calls you, you're getting off track, answering the call, responding to the email. Guess what? You're wasting time. Okay? You're wasting time. So I use time blocking. Some people do it for an hour. I usually do mine for 45 minutes. and it could be certain things or whatever you need to focus on to get done. So it's called time blocking. So the hidden cost of saying yes, one of the costs is wasted time. Another thing that coincides to wasted time is lost focus. How many times have you been working on something and you say yes to something, and now your focus is totally gone from where it should be, building your business? So you can also lose focus. And that's something that's key, guys. Follow one course until success. That's an acronym. Focus. Follow one course until success. And we as entrepreneurs, I did an episode on this. Many times we have what we call entrepreneur ADD, right? We start going down a rabbit hole. We see this opportunity. Oh, man. Then you see another business opportunity. Then you see this. Then you see that. And by the time you pull your head up from that rabbit hole, you're way, way away from what the initial goal or objective was. And you're like, damn, how did that happen? So recognize and understand that is something that many entrepreneurs have. I call it entrepreneur ADD. So saying yes can also help you lose focus. Something else that's detrimental, guys, for saying yes too many times is burnout. So you can overcommit yourself to certain things and now you're burned out. Now, I love my sister-in-law to death, right? Beautiful person. But every time somebody asks her to do something, oh, yeah, I can do this. Oh, yeah, I can do that. And guess what? None of the stuff gets done because it becomes overwhelming, right? So I had a surprise birthday party last year, and my kids and my wife were cracking up because they were saying that my sister-in-law was supposed to handle picking up some food or doing some other stuff. So my wife had taken me out for dinner and stuff like that, and we were supposed to be back at a certain time. Now, once we got back, everything was supposed to be set up. So my daughters were telling me that, their auntie was like behind on everything. Oh yeah, I can do this. I can pick up the balloons. I can go to Costco, pick up some food. I can do that, and didn't have a damn thing done close to the time that I was coming into the party. So burnout, overextending yourself. That's what saying yes can also do to you. So you have to understand what the cost of saying yes is and how it's going to affect your business. If it's not helping you, guess what? It's hurting you, right? Another way saying yes too much can hurt is by delaying your goals. So when you're not focused and you're not moving in a direct path, and you're getting sidetracked all the time by all of these yeses and all the commitments that come with the yeses, it can delay your goals. So, and it's funny because I'm dealing with this kind of right now. I said yes to help somebody with the project, and now I regret it. They're soaking up my time and my energy and my resources. But I made that commitment because I didn't think it was going to be this intense, but it actually is. So when you're going around and you got your 8 balls up in the air juggling, it can delay your goals. Now, let's talk about productivity or the lack thereof of productivity when you say yes too much. So now, because you're focusing on so many different things and you're juggling so many different balls in the air because you couldn't say no, right? Now, you said yes to too many things, and guess what? It lowers your productivity. And we're talking about, as an entrepreneur, guys, we're talking about working at maximum efficiency. Maximum efficiency. Just pretend that you're a factory, right? That factory has to work at maximum efficiency to be the most profitable. So if you ever had a product manufactured, right? I still do a lot of stuff, private label stuff. So when I call my manufacturer in China for one of my flat irons, right? They'll say, okay, how many are you ordering? And then they'll tell me when they can fit it into their production line. They just can't stop everything they're doing and say, okay, Jay has a new order coming in. Let's take everything else off the production line so we can get his in there. Okay. So once again, productivity, it's like efficiency. Consider yourself like a factory. You have to work at maximum efficiency. So lowered productivity can be a byproduct of saying yes to too many things or too many people or opportunities. So basically, guys, entrepreneurship is ultimately a time management game, and your results are directly affected on how you allocate your time. Understood? You have to be cautious of how you use your time, and you have to guard that time wisely. Once again, everybody has 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. How are you going to utilize yours versus how somebody else utilizes theirs? And I want to talk about this real quick, right? I had a conversation at the workshop I was doing in Charlotte, and one of the guys was talking about staying focused, and somebody brought up video games, right? And I asked one guy, how often, do you play video games? He's like, oh, I play usually every day as a stress relief. And I said, I get it. You need that. This dude's about 40-something, 45 years old. And I'm like, okay, now if you got kids and you're playing with your kids, that's one thing. And I said, well, how much time you spend a week, you think, on that? He's probably like 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, 14 hours. I'm like, damn. I said 14 hours. I didn't mean to be rude, but I'm like, you a grown man. 14 hours a week. You could have a MBA, a master's, a PhD if you took that time and allocated it somewhere else. So you have to understand, guys, time is valuable. And when you have people wasting your time, or you're wasting your own damn time, which to me doesn't make any sense, then you're not helping yourself. You're hurting yourself. I understand you need to unplug sometime. You need to unplug, decompress. I get it. Some people could be going to the gym. It could be working out, running, reading, whatever. We need that. But playing video games as a grown ass man for 14 hours a week, unless you're independently wealthy, I don't know if that's a good use of time right there. So that's what we want to focus on, guys. We're talking about the hidden cost of saying yes. Now, let's talk about why time and goals matter. Why do time and goals matter for entrepreneurs? So successful entrepreneurs, we protect our time aggressively. And I kind of touched on it earlier. Why do we want to do that? Because time, guys, is the foundation of progress. Time is the foundation of progress. You have to have the time in order to put in the work to get the results that you want, right? So here's some of the things that this requires. It requires focus. Follow one course until success. Focus. Many times the unsuccessful people, and it doesn't matter if it's in entrepreneurship, in life, or whatever, they don't have the focus. They don't have the focus to be successful. All right. Your goals also require consistency. I talked about patterns before in an episode about 4 weeks ago. What are your patterns? Your patterns are going to show you, or they're going to take you where you want to go. So if you have a pattern of getting up and exercising 60 minutes every morning, you're probably going to be in good shape after a period of time. If you have a pattern of not exercising at all for 6 months, guess what? That's going to show also. So your patterns, those are things that are important to you, that consistency. Now, let's talk something real quick about. So I just talked about focus, consistency. Now let's talk about strategic effort. It's not what you do, guys. It's how you do it, right? It's being strategic about how you move, right? About how you leverage and use your time. So time and goals matter. Remember, successful entrepreneurs protect their time aggressively because time is the foundation of progress. So strategic effort. What can you leverage, right? What efforts can you put into play that are going to strategically help you grow a better business, right? If your time is consistently being hijacked or by distractions or bad opportunities, you're going to struggle to make meaningful progress, right? So you have to understand and guard your time wisely, guys. So you can't hit your goals if your time is constantly being spent on things that don't move your business forward. Spend time on things that move the needle, not on busy work, not on BS. Use time blocking also so you can focus and get things accomplished. Now, I use my phone a lot for notes, for, to-do list and all that. But I also like to write a lot of things down. So I'm recording this at my desk in my office at my home. And I actually have a list of everything I need to do today. And sometimes I just like to physically check things off. And I use time blocks to manage a lot of that stuff. So once again, guys, why time and goals matter is because if your time is constantly being hijacked by distractions or bad opportunities, it's going to hurt you reaching your goals. All right. Now let's talk real quick about some signs that you should say no. There's always signs, right? People always talk about in hindsight, right? Man, in hindsight, I should have recognized that. In hindsight. But if you're attentive, let's look at some signs that should tell you to say no. So before talking about what to say no to specifically, we need to recognize some of the signals that something isn't right. Recognize and understand. So recognition. So many entrepreneurs ignore these signals and they end up regretting it lately. These signs or signals. So you should consider saying no. And I'm going to give you a couple reasons. If the opportunity doesn't align with your goals. If there's an opportunity out there, somebody comes to you and there's a great opportunity out there, but if it doesn't align with your goals, guess what? You know what? Don't do it. Don't do it. So for example, I have a lot of alcohol companies that wanted to advertise on the podcast, right? And I told them no, they don't align with my goals. Now, do I drink? Yes, not a whole lot, but I drink beer, I drink bourbon, and I enjoy that. I don't mind sitting down, getting my sip on, right? But I didn't want that to be a part of the actual BEB show. We're talking about elevation, right? We're talking about all kinds of stuff. We have enough alcohol ads, or in stores in our neighborhoods. It's unbalanced. We walk around in our neighborhoods. We got the tobacco shops. We got all the liquor stores and all that good stuff. So the opportunity, the money was good. And I'm talking about major alcohol brands, but it doesn't align with my goals. So guess what? I said what? No. All right. Here's another sign. If it conflicts with your long-term vision. Okay. So I had somebody reach out to me, one of my friends who wanted to go into business with me. And basically he had some good ideas. It sounded good, but guess what? But it conflicted with my long-term vision. And the way it conflicted with my long-term vision is I don't want to answer to anybody. When I want to make a move or pivot with my business, if I decide, you know what, this isn't going to work for me, guess what? That's my long-term vision. Only partner I have is my wife, right? And that's not in business. That's just in life. So I don't need to have a business partner where we may not be on the same lines. Our thinking may be a little bit different. And I know this person. So I know what his long-term vision is, and I know what mine is. So I knew I had to say right away. It sounded good. It sounded sweet from the beginning. But I was like, nah, it's going to conflict with my long-term vision. And these are warning signs that you should say no. Another one is if you don't feel good about the deal. Sometimes, it may look good. It may smell good, but something's wrong there. You just don't feel right with it. And I always err to the side of my gut, right? If I have some gut feelings or intuition, that's normally where I go to, right? So if it doesn't feel good or something doesn't feel right about the business or the deal, say no. Another thing is, guys, that you should say no. Another sign is it could compromise you or your business. I tell people all the time, you never want to be compromised, because when you're compromised, you're going to end up doing things that you may not normally do. Somebody or something has that leverage on you. You never want to be compromised. You want to be able to move in and out of this life, in and out of, business opportunities, whatever, without being compromised, because you're always going to be looking over your shoulder if somebody has something on you or you've done something that you've compromised yourself, right? And the last sign I'm going to talk about where you should say no, it pulls you away from your core priorities. Your core priority, guys, is to build your freaking business. All right. That's your core priority, to build your business. If this opportunity or whatever pulls you away from that, guess what? It's not really something that you need to look at per se, and you need to say no. So your intuition combined with your strategy, guys, it's a powerful decision-making tool. Intuition, I talked about that, and strategy is a powerful decision-making tool. So if something feels wrong at the beginning, guess what? It usually gets worse later on. Been there, done that. So you have to recognize and understand and pick up on the signs. Have those spidey senses working so you understand that, guess what? These are some of the warning signs that I have, and I need to make sure that I listen to my intuition. So that's key, guys. Follow that intuition, all right? Now, in this last segment, or next to last segment, I'm going to talk about the 5 things entrepreneurs must learn to say no to. These are 5 things, guys, that you have to say no to. And some of them are super hard. The first one is, guys, say no to bad clients. So bad clients actually cost you more than they pay, right? It's too much work, too much aggravation, and it's not worth it. So one of the things that I always talk about is picture 2 funnels, right? You're holding a funnel in your left hand and in your right hand. So in your left hand, you have a funnel full of oversized rocks, different size rocks that you try to pour through the funnel. That funnel doesn't move too fast, right? In the right hand, you have a funnel and you're pouring water or sand in there, right? And that moves and flows nicely. So bad clients are like the funnel with the rocks in it, okay? It's getting stopped up. They're causing a lot of problems. They're giving you agita, anxiety, and they're very hard to work with. So here's some signs of a bad client, guys. Constantly negotiating your price, always trying to break you down, right? They don't see the value when somebody keeps trying to negotiate the price. And I get that, I understand that's normal, but they don't see the value. Lack of respect for your time. I had people, when I first got into the mortgage business, I had fools calling me 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning talking about, yo, man, how's my loan going? What? Man, it's Sunday morning. And I have a strict rule. I don't work on Sundays. I don't care what it is unless it's something super important or I'm behind the deadline. Sunday is my day of rest. I don't work on Saturdays now unless I have to. I've earned that right. So once again, lack of respect for your time. Another thing about bad clients is they question your expertise, right? They question your expertise. And so once again, you have to understand and you have to develop this as an entrepreneur. You have to lay the expectation level up front for your clients. Then they also expect excessive work. How many times have you had a client that isn't even paying you enough for doing the work you're doing? So oftentimes, guys, with this saying no to bad clients, it often happens because entrepreneurs don't have a system to qualify their leads, right? Not every dollar is a good dollar. So you have to have systems in place that are going to qualify your leads, and you can get rid of some of your bad clients up front before you even interact with them. Let's talk about number 2. And we're talking about the 5 things entrepreneurs must learn to say no to. Say no to bad deals. Some deals look good at first, but become problems later. All right. And here's some ways that or some examples of bad deals. Unclear expectations. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into business. We're going to do this, that, the other thing. Did you talk about what the split is, what the revenue split is, when you want to take money? I'm going to tell you a real quick story. One of my good friends and I, we started a business together, and we didn't understand, or we didn't have clear expectations. And so you have to understand each other and be aligned. I wanted to get into this business to build long-term wealth. He needed money right away. So every time we made a sale, he was like, yo, man, I need to grab this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, damn, bro, we're not going to be able to build if, we're not reinvesting back in the business. So one of the things is it was unclear expectations. We weren't clear on what we expected from each other. Another reason to say no to bad deals, high workload versus low reward. Who wants to bust their ass, like crazy and not get anything back? It doesn't make sense, right? That's a bad deal. Another bad deal thing is misaligned incentives. Misaligned incentives. So if the incentives or what you're looking for out of the deal don't match or aren't aligned, guess what? A bad deal. Also, the risk outweighs the reward. Risk outweighs the reward. So I always tell my kids when they were little, there's risk, and I have one hand up versus reward, like a scale, risk versus reward. So these are some signs of bad deals. So you got to evaluate, guys, the structure of the deal and not just the potential money. Also, when it comes to deals, I don't care if it's your brother, your mother, your sister, your wife, whatever. Everything needs to be in writing. So if there's a dissolution of the business, if there's an issue or problem, buyout terms written down in advance. So say no to bad deals. Number 3, say no to bad partnerships. Partnerships can accelerate growth or they can destroy your momentum. Partners, I don't have business partners anymore. Everything I do is on my own. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, but I'm at the stage of my career right now, been there, done that. I don't want to have to answer to anybody. And if I need to pivot, I'm going to pivot. And I just don't have time to be carrying anybody at this stage of the game. All right. So partnerships can accelerate your growth or can destroy your momentum. Here's some red flags about partnerships. If there's a lack of trust, guess what? Don't do it. If there's misaligned vision, we talked about that before, but you won't know that until you start talking and uncovering what their vision is. So that should be a question if you're thinking about partner. Unequal work ethic, right? Same thing that happened with that business with my best friend, one of my best friends. I was busting my ass. I had a goal and he started slacking off. Coming to work, not dressed the correct way, being lethargic, not working with the customers and all that good stuff with the way he's supposed to be. Unequal work ethic. I'm not going to bust my ass and then split the profits 50-50 when you're not carrying your load. Another example of bad partnerships are poor communication. Communication is the key. Everybody needs to understand what's going on. Communication is the key. But once again, guys, say no to bad partnerships. That's number 3. Number 4, say no to time-wasting activities. That's what we're talking about. A lot of times we confuse being busy with being productive. Being busy doesn't mean you're productive. Busy work, right? You've heard of the term busy work. So examples of some time-wasting activities, endless meetings, right? You ever go to or work for a company or somebody and all they want to do is meet. You got more meetings and no execution. Another thing is social media distractions. And I know it's easy. You get on social media, you start looking at something, all of a sudden you look up, it's 30 minutes later. And we're talking about saying no to time-wasting activities. This is number 4. Over-planning instead of executing. Paralysis by analysis, right? And there's a ton of people out here doing that. I said this probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had a guy in one of our workshops, master classes. We were supposed to be building a product or selling a product and creating it, selling it all through the masterclass. By the end of the 8 weeks, this fool was still reading books, talking about, oh yeah, I've been researching this. I've been watching this video. I've been reading that. Come on, man. Over planning instead of executing, paralysis by analysis, and consuming content instead of creating. It doesn't have to be the best. There's iterations to things. So your first iteration isn't going to be like your last iteration. It gets better over time. So busy is not the same as productive. So understand that. And the 5th thing that you must learn to say no to, guys, is chasing money without purpose. Chasing money without purpose. You're chasing paper and not purpose. So many entrepreneurs, we chase the opportunities purely and solely because of the money. And I get it. We're in business to make money. But it comes a point in time when you got to go and chase the purpose. Because and I can speak from experience, done both many a times, right? But here's what I'm going to tell you. When you're chasing paper, if things get hard, guess what you're going to do? You're going to quit. It's super easy for you to quit because there's nothing behind it. You're just trying to get that low-hanging fruit, chasing the actual paper. When you chase purpose, you're able to walk through walls because it's deeper and bigger than the money. There's a purpose behind it. So when we have that purpose, it's going to make us, indomitable. We're going to start walking through walls, doing what we need to do because it's based on purpose. Okay. So many entrepreneurs, like I said, chase opportunities purely because of the money. But without purpose, guys, This can lead to burnout, lack of motivation, and short-term thinking. So purpose-driven businesses tend to create longer-lasting success. It's something that's deeper. I tell you, it's very simple to quit. When you're chasing paper and it's getting too hard, it's very simple to quit. I used to tell my kids, and I'll excuse the French, I'll tell anybody, the easiest thing that you can do in life is quit, because it takes absolutely no effort whatsoever to quit. All it is two simple words. You don't even have to say it. You just have to think it. I quit. Absolutely no effort at all. It is easy to quit. So when you're chasing paper, there's a big difference than chasing purpose. And I did an episode on that probably about a year and a half ago. Chasing paper versus chasing purpose. Now, before we get to the last segment, guys, what I want to do is I want to give you a simple exercise like a decision filter to help you guys protect your time and your focus. But before I get to that, guys, let me just share my contact information and my resource link. So I talked at the top of the show about getfundingready.com. It is a quick 60-second quiz to find out if your business is able to get funded. And if not, there's things that you can do. Once again, in our community, unfortunately, there's a lot of we don't have the access to capital that many other communities do. So this can help you get on the right track. You may find out that you're ready for funding right now, or you may find out, hey, these are the things that I need to do. Now, if you need to contact me, anything long, family, hit me on my email, jayjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. That's JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Instagram, I have 2 IG accounts. The first one is Jay Jones for Real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. Second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Twitter or X, whatever they're calling it now, you can connect with me there, JayJones001, JAYJONES001. Instagram, connect with me there. Just look for me, Jay Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Also YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have additional content on YouTube that is not on the show. So go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, hit that subscribe button. Also, for all you first-time listeners, guys, we drop a new episode every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube. So wherever you're watching this or listening to this, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll get alerted to this good word when we drop every Monday, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 613 weeks in a row. Never missed a week. And that's what's called consistency. And that also helps drive your business. Now, let's get back to the last segment of the show. Today, we've been talking about the power of saying no for entrepreneurs. And today, I'm going to give you a little simple exercise. It's called a decision filter to help you protect your time and your focus. All right. So to protect your time and focus, create a simple decision-making framework. Make this framework. It's pretty simple. If you don't have the opportunity to write it down, go to the show notes. Every episode has show notes. So if you can't write it down, jot it down. If you're driving in your car to work, or if you're running, you're working out, make sure you go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, hit the show notes. This is episode number 613. All right, so here it is, guys. To protect your time and focus, create a simple decision-making framework. Before saying yes to anything, ask yourself, question number 1, does this help me reach my long-term goals? Does this help me reach my long-term goals? If it's no, guess what? Don't do it. Question number 2, does this align with my vision? Is this something that I have a vision for? If no, if it doesn't, guess what? Say no. Question 3, what is the risk versus reward? There's always a risk versus reward. Does it make sense to you? If it doesn't, say no. All right. Question 4, will this move my business forward? If it's not going to move it forward, guess what? You're wasting time. You're hustling backwards. Okay. Remember, there's no such thing as standing still in business. You're either moving forward or you're going backwards. Will this move my business forward? If it doesn't, say no. Question 5, is it worth my time and energy investment? If the answer to that is no, guess what? Keep it moving. So if the answer isn't clearly a yes, the answer may be a no. So if it's not a clear yes, then it probably should be a no. All right. So what you guys have to understand, entrepreneurial success is not, guys, about chasing every opportunity. It's about being strategic. It's about taking care and guarding your time and your focus, because those are the key things, or some of the key things, that are going to make you successful. If you use your 24 hours different than me, guess what? If you use it more efficiently, you're probably going to be better off than I am. So I heard a story real quick. I'll close with this. Like Kobe Bryant said. Kobe Bryant said he would get up and he would exercise and practice and train 3 times a day, when most other guys during the off season would train once a day. So he said he would get up at 4 in the morning and he'd train from like 5 to 7, come home and eat breakfast. He'd go back out from like 10 to 12, come home and eat lunch. Go back out from like 3 to 5, come home and eat dinner. While everybody else may be training, from 2 or 3 hours a day. And he said over a period of time, because of the work that I've put in, there would be no way that they could ever catch me. They may be better than me today, but because of my focus and my commitment, there's no way their skill is going to be better than mine, because I put in the work. What he did was he protected his time and he protected his focus. And that's what we need to do as entrepreneurs, guys. Once again, the power of saying no for entrepreneurs. Stop getting caught up with these shiny objects. You need to work at maximum efficiency, and your time and focus are 2 of the biggest factors that are going to determine whether you're successful as an entrepreneur or you're a failure as an entrepreneur. Now, I say this each and every week, family, because it's true. We get more and more downloads because of you. I appreciate you guys so much. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast, the website. We have all kinds of free resources on the website. Go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, hit the Learn tab. There's a drop down. We have resources on marketing, scaling your business, mindset, everything to help move your business from point A to point B. Remember, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.